Welcome or welcome back to my channel, Callie's Kingdom, and today I will be going through my 2025 TBR. Now, I know we're already a little bit into the year, and I've already finished one of the books on this TBR, and I'm in the middle of another one, but I decided to make this video to tell you guys all the rest of my books and what I'll hopefully read by the end of this year. Now, no promises, since I think last year I only read about half of what was on my TBR, but all these books sound really interesting, and I think I'm going to stick pretty much to it if I can. So, let's get into it. First of all, I'm not finished with the spread, but in my bullet journal, I made a little, 2025 TBR spread, so this is what I'll be looking off of. Some of these books I own, and some of these books I do not. I think I've owned about 7 of these, and I have 12 total, and 12 is my goal for this year. So either I'll read these 12, or will somehow stray so far from this and not read these 12, but whatever. Other years I've had a higher reading goal, but just being so busy with school since I'm at an engineering college, for those of you who don't know, and I will be going on co-op, so I'll actually be working at a company as a mechanical engineering intern in the fall, so I don't know how that will be. I mean, maybe I'll have less to do, less homework, so maybe I'll be reading more, but maybe I won't. I do not know. So that's why I set it as 12 books, and so far it's been going pretty well since I read 2.5. And it is March right now, so not even a half, 2 and a fifth. Who am I kidding? The book I'm on right now is 1,000 pages long. But anyway, so I'm gonna start off with the book that I already finished that was on my TBR, and that was The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. And oh my gosh, I think I went over how great this book was in a different video, but this book is amazing. It's so interesting. It's like this guy, he wakes up and he doesn't remember anything, but he's in this manor, or he's near this manor. He gets back to the manor, and he just remembers that he saw a woman die, and he remembers this woman's name, Anna, although he doesn't even know if it's the name of this woman or someone else or what, but he's going through the day trying to figure out what's going on, who he is. And then that night, Evelyn Hardcastle, this woman who is the family's daughter, came back from Paris, and they're having a celebration for her return. She dies, and suddenly he's in this mystery of what's going on with Evelyn Hardcastle. He needs to figure out how she died, but he wakes up the next day and he's in a new guest's body, and he goes through each day and waking up in a different person's body, and he has to solve this mystery. But he's not the only one trying to solve this mystery. There's 2 other people trying to solve it, and only one of these people can escape the loop by telling this guy in what's it called, a plague mask doctor, meeting the plague mask doctor and telling him who the murderer was, and then he'll be released. But it's just so mind-boggling and so good. 5 stars. I know this is not a book review video, and this is supposed to be my TBR video, but I highly recommend this book. It is amazing. But I guess going off of that, oh, I have this book. Yes. So, I read another book by this author, which was not on my 2025 TBR, but since I had started it at the end of last year and then finished it at the beginning of this year. But I wanted to read his other book that he had out, The Devil and the Dark Water, so I got this book. This one seems to be kind of a murder mystery horror. I think it's a guy who's a detective, but he's accused of a crime, and who knows if he committed it or not. So he's on a boat going to, where is he going? Amsterdam, to be executed for a crime, and he's traveling with his bodyguard and there's also a noblewoman with a secret. I don't know if she knows him or not. So I think then someone dies on this boat, and it's kind of what happened. Is there a murderer, or is it paranormal? Because they keep being led to believe that it's more of a paranormal crime, and who's the devil in the dark water, and it sounds really good. I'm not someone who reads horror a lot, but I have read some fantasy horror before, and that was really good, so I'm really excited to read this. So yes, The Devil in the Dark Water. I will probably read this after the book that I'm reading right now, which somehow I did not grab that book to have with me before I started this video, but that book is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, 1,252 pages long. It is so long. I'm 315 pages through it right now, but I started it 6 days ago, last Friday, and this is the Friday when I'm filming this, so I think I've had 6 full days of reading it, and I've averaged about 50 pages a day. If I keep that up, I'll be done this book in 25 days, but if I don't, because I'm going back to school soon, who knows how long this book will take me, which is also why I'm glad that I have a 12 book reading goal this year. But yeah, that book's really good so far. I don't know. I didn't know a lot about it. I really didn't know anything about it other than that it was by Brandon Sanderson before I went into this, but I got it from a Secret Santa. And so far, we're following a couple different characters. There's a girl named Shallan, who I loved following her. There's a guy named Kaladin, and I think he's kind of like the main character from what I've seen so far, because he has the most, like, chapters. There's a guy named Adolin, a guy named, what's Adolin's dad's name? I don't know. But I forget, Dalinar. But like they're all in different like parts of the world and their stories haven't really overlapped too much right now, but they're overlapping a little bit and you'll hear one character mentioned and be like, oh my gosh, Shallan was trying to go find this woman and she's the like king's sister and this guy Adelin's cousin and blah, blah. I don't know. But the magic system's really cool. It's like based off of storms, which is why it's called the Stormlight Archives, I guess. But they also have these like, some have these swords called like shard blades, I think. I might be misremembering that. But like they have such cool magic systems. And the first like little prologue was the old king being killed and the guy in that had this like really cool power called like lashing where he could like change where the gravity was pulling him or objects so he could be on like the wall or the roof or I don't know. It's pretty cool. So I'm excited to continue reading that and hopefully finish that too so that I can move on to other books because if not, I'm just going to be on this book forever. But it's good so far. I'm enjoying it. This book, I forget if I had this on my TBR last year, but I think I got it for Christmas, not last year, but the year before. So I want to get to it. It's called Red Rising, and I've heard a lot of good things about it. I know it's like a sci-fi dystopian about a guy who, I think he was working underground, working to try and make this planet that he's on inhabitable. But then he realizes that the planet has been inhabitable and people have been living on the surface of this planet for like years and years. And him and the other people were just basically being used as like slaves to get all these materials and stuff so that way the people up there can have a good life. So I think it's just him like figuring that out and I don't know, it's a trilogy, so if I read this book then and I like it then hopefully I'll continue on with the other books, but the other books aren't on my TBR. But if I love this book I'll just continue on right away and probably buy it. But yeah, so I'm excited to hopefully get to this book. I've heard lots of good things. The next book on here, I do not have, nor is it out right now. It's called Alchemy of Stars, and it's by Stephanie Garber, who wrote the Caraval and the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, which I really enjoyed those series. I rated them both 4.5 stars overall, so they're like really high up there for me. Not like top series, but really enjoyed them. And this is one of her more like, those ones were young adult, this one's more like, I think like new adult. It's about this girl who she's in college, and I think her professor talks about how, like, there's these secrets in Hollywood, and for her thesis, she starts to try and investigate these, and then she gets caught up in this, like, dark, like, world of magic, and, like, I don't know. It sounded really good. That one's not coming out till October, so this will not be until towards the end of the year on my TBR. So hopefully I'll get it then. And then the next book on here, I also don't have because it's also not out yet, and that is Sunrise on the Reaping, which I'm sure if a lot of you are up with the book news, you know about this book. The newest Hunger Games book. I am so excited for this one. I absolutely loved The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, or A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes when it came out, was that a couple years back? I rated it 5 stars. It was such a good book. I think it might be... I haven't reread the original Hunger Games series, but I think I might even like it better than the original Hunger Games series. But also, I just don't know if that's because I, like, remember it a little more than I remember the Hunger Games, because I haven't read the Hunger Games since I've been in 8th grade. So, but I really enjoyed that series too. But I am so excited for this one. Oh, what's his name? I should prepare these videos a little more and make sure I know what I'm talking about. But anyway, Sunrise of the Reaping is when, Katniss's like mentor is in the Hunger Games, if you didn't know. And it's kind of his whole like journey with the Hunger Games. I'm so excited for it. I know that Suzanne Collins is not going to disappoint. So right when that book comes out, I don't know if I'll buy it right away, but I'll definitely have it on my birthday list and I'll definitely get it this year and hopefully read it. Fingers crossed. Now, this next book I do have, and I got this for Christmas. This was the only book that I got for Christmas, mostly because I was not reading as much at the end of last year. I was kind of in a book slump, so I was like this is the one book that I need. But I have not gotten to it yet, which I don't know why. Oh, probably because I was reading Stuart Turton's books, and his books were so good. But this one is The 13th Child by Erin A. Craig. And if you don't know Erin A. Craig, kind of what I was talking about with how I like some fantasy horror, she writes fantasy horror, which is so cool. I have never seen anyone write fantasy horror before. So this, sometimes she writes about like fairy tale retellings. So the first book I read by her, A House of Salt and Sorrows, which is one of my top favorite books of all times. 5 stars. Small Favors, also top favorite book of all times. But House of Salt and Sorrows is a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling. Small Favors, I'm not going to tell you what a retelling it's of, because basically I didn't know until I got to the end, and then it was like a light bulb moment, because it was very, very loose retelling of this one fairy tale. And I was like, oh my gosh. So Small Favors was more like historical with a little bit of fantasy, historical, a little bit of fantasy horror. So this one, The 13th Child, I don't really know much about it. I knew about it when I bought it. But I know she's like the 13th child. Let's see. Oh, she's waiting for the god of death to arrive and take her away. Dun, dun, dun. I know it's a retelling of a fairy tale called Godfather Death, which I don't know anything about, nor do I want to know anything about before I read this book, which maybe it would be cool to know and read it, but I feel like I just want to go in blind, and then afterwards I want to kind of research it and see like, oh, what is this fairy tale about? But I'm really excited for this one. Basically, my plan is to finish reading The Way of Kings, which will take a while, read Devil in the Dark Water, and then read this one. That's kind of my like loose plan right now, mostly because I own those books and I'm very excited. So I'm really excited to read this. I really hope that Erin A. Craig doesn't disappoint, but I believe in her because I loved the 2 books. Her spin-off to House of Salt and Sorrow, The House of Roots and Ruins, was not as much my favorite. I think I rated it like 3.5 stars. Like, it wasn't terrible, but it just wasn't as good as the other ones, in my opinion. So, I hope that this one will be really good. I'm excited. The next one I also have here, and this is a mystery. Are we sensing a theme? I love mysteries, I love fantasy, and I love the little bit of like horror elements, I guess, to them. I love sci-fi too. So, this one is a historical mystery, which I haven't read as much historical fiction mysteries, which is funny because this one's like from like 1930 something, I guess. So this one was kind of historical mystery. And The Devil in the Dark Water is in like 1634, so this will really be historical. But anyway, this one is a Veronica Speedwell mystery. It's called A Curious Beginning. And I love booktube channel called Katie is Reading, and this is one of her favorite series ever, and it's like a long series. I think there's like 10 books, but they each kind of have their own self-contained mystery, so you can kind of read them like not separately from each other, because I think you learn more about Veronica, you learn more about her like her love interest, but I know that she's in London and her like aunt dies or something, so then she tries to pursue scientific inquiry, and then I think, let's see, someone tries to abduct her. So then she's trying to figure that out and starts off a mystery. So this sounds good too. I also got this, I forget if it was for my birthday last year or Christmas the year before, but it's also very floppy. I'm getting distracted. But I'm excited to read this and see what it's like and see if I like it. I think those are all the books that I own. No, I own Dragonfly Girl, which is a young adult mystery with like, I think there's some like, not sci-fi elements, but like she's working as like a lab assistant, I think, and then this rat like comes back to life. Like it was dead and now it's coming back to life, and she thinks something darker is going on at the lab that she's working at and trying to investigate that. I don't have that with me because that's back at college with me, which by the way, I'm bringing these 4 books back with me to college. My suitcase is gonna be pretty heavy from them, but I brought this one, and I brought this one, which I don't know why I brought this one, because I had a 1,000-page book to read on the plane. Did I really think I was going to finish that and have to read this one? But anyway, then I bought this one, and these 2 were at my house from Christmas, and I think I brought this back over Christmas, but my suitcase was too heavy, so I had to leave it here, and I was like, I'll get it next break. So I'm gonna bring a couple books back with me, just a couple, and then also The Way of Kings. So hopefully my suitcase won't be too heavy. But yeah, I think those are all the ones that I own on here, which I also got into 2 releases that I have not gotten yet. But I also have 4 more books that I do not own, that I'll probably be asking for my birthday this year. So first of all, is This Is How You Lose the Time War, which I have heard a lot about. I've heard it's like a sci-fi romance with like 2 different agents on like 2 different sides of this like war, and they're like going back in time to try and like change up outcomes of different things so that way in the future their side will win. But throughout doing that, they're trying to like thwart each other's plans, and they're like communicating each other with like different hidden messages, and then they're also like falling in love, and it sounds really interesting. And I've been enjoying like time travel things like that because I really like the not not time travel. It's not, well, the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. They're like starting the day over again, so kind of time travel. So yeah, I have another time travel book on here. I find it so fascinating. So I also have the 7 Year Slip, which is like a time travel romance. And normally I like more romance subplots, but there's every once in a while where I like mostly a straight up romance if they have like something else kind of going on. Like my 2 5-star romances was the Summer of Broken Rules, which they were playing an Assassins game, like where they go and squirt each other with like water, and then if they like hit each other, their target with the water gun, they get their next target. And I love Assassins games. My school played one, and I was so into it. There was like maybe 100 people, and I think I lasted till top third. Like I was top 30, but I helped my suite mate last till 6th. I was getting all this info and like filling out a spreadsheet. It was crazy, and I was like trading info with people. I was living out my like spy like coder dream. I don't not coder, like hacker. Like I'm getting the info now, and like this guy figured out how to hack people's schedules, which is honestly a little scary. But like I used that info to my advantage for this game. But it was really fun. But anyway, I'm getting off track. So there has to be something else to make me like really love the romance, because there's something like a bigger goal or something else they're focusing on. So the 7 Year Slip is this girl who like moves into an apartment, and she walks in one day and there's this guy, and she's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I live here." And she's like, "No, I live here." And then she realizes somehow that they like went like he's lived in the apartment 7 years ago, and she's talking to him like 7 years in the past. So I don't know what's going on there, but it sounds interesting, and I'm excited to hopefully read that. I realized this next one, I don't really know much. I just know about the magic system, which sounds really cool. So it's called Foundry Side, and who is the booktuber who like talked about this? Because there's someone that I watched on YouTube who was talking about this, and it just like really sounded interesting to me. But oh, I think it was Murphy Napier or something. But she was talking about Foundry Side and how I think this girl has like the ability for if she touches an item, she can kind of like read like its history and its past owners and where the item was before, and it sounded really interesting. So I've been wanting to read it for a little while. It's been on my radar for a little while, but kind of like in the background. So I finally decided to put it on my TBR and hopefully get to it this year. Is that all of them? I think that's all of them. Yes! So that is my 2025 TBR. I have it all set up here, which this page is a little not interesting. I'm going to decorate it with little things like that, but I've not gotten to it yet, so it's just like that right now. I should do a bullet journal flip through video for maybe the end of the year, maybe this, I don't know. But I've been really enjoying doing my bullet journal. This is very off topic. I didn't do January. February is not as much of my favorite. It's still cute, but it just wasn't like my best work, which I still like it. But it has these little stamps, and then I tried to do a big stamp over here, but I don't know if I like how the big stamp looks, but it goes, "When you love what you have everything you need." But I love March. I look up ideas off of Instagram or whatever, so it's not like these are my own like ideas. So this one was from Amanda Rach Lee, and I loved it. I know people are talking about sometimes like, oh, you shouldn't copy people's art, but I think in the bullet journal community it's really more about relaxing, like planning something like how you want. So I find it too relaxing to kind of look at someone's art that they have and like copy it in here and everything. So, but I won't take credit. I didn't come up with these flower ideas. But and then this next one was by I looked off of Ivana Journals on Instagram, and I love these little ducks. This one's for April, and it says, "When in doubt, be yourself," and it's just so cute. This is not a bullet journal video, but like, look Look at him. Look at the little duck. I love the little duck. I'll do a flip through sometime. Maybe at the end of the year when I'm finished this journal, but look! I've been having so much fun. This has been the past week of me just like planning all these things because I'm home on break. And I've been very productive. Wait. One more little duck. And then I have May, which I just started. And it's these little teacups. So this was also from Ivana Journals. So I just have the little teacups. Little calendar. But yeah, anyway. I got way off topic there. I hope you enjoyed listening about my 2025 TBR, and stay tuned because I should be posting more videos after this. I think after this one, I'll go back and repost the 2 that I filmed last summer, and we'll see. I want to talk about my like 5-star books of all time. 5-star books of all time, like top 10 books of all time, books and series, but I honestly don't know how I'm gonna rank them or how I'm gonna choose, so if I end up being able to, then I might film that video to have before I go back to school, because when I go back to school, I'm gonna be busy. I'm always busy when I'm back at school. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I'll see you again soon. Bye!